With this video, we want to introduce you to a man that was my teacher. Durewall is a fascinating man, and we will start from the beginning. When he was young, he had a tough childhood. He was beaten up badly several times, and then he decided that no more. So he started studying Jiu-Jitsu, an old author, Viking Kronholm, and he was also studying boxing, and while doing so he became better and better in defending himself. During the early years he was so interested in Jiu-Jitsu and boxing, so he took every chance to go for a practice. He even took his bike and rode his bike all the way from Stockholm to Malmö, a distance that today it would take a car 6 hours. And he did all that just for a 4-hour training session. Durewall was also a professional photographer. It started on a boxing camp. On that boxing camp there was a football camp next to it. So he took his amateur camera and went over and took a picture of the national team. Later, when he met his father, that was a professional photographer, all of them could not get any pictures because the football team already left. And then he told them, I already got a picture. So he got his first picture published in 1948. Durewall's pictures was published in national magazines, and here is one of his first books with a lot of pictures. This is from the early 1950s. Many of them published in the Swedish magazine called Expressen and Dagens Nyheter. Kurt now had the chance to combine his interest for boxing as being a professional photographer. He could go to the US and take pictures of our world champion, to become world champion, Ingmar Johansson. So he went with him both in Sweden and then over to the US to watch his competitions. During this time he also met a Jiu-Jitsu professor in New York, and that also made a big change for his Jiu-Jitsu. Now he started to learn how to work with less and less force. And then when he returned home, he witnessed a fight, a really bad fight. And he saw that the two men were fighting each other, hitting, kicking really bad. They didn't give up, even that they got a lot of pain. And then he started questioning himself if his Jiu-Jitsu was efficient. If it's not working with pain, why am I training so many techniques that only work if the other person can feel pain? This made him start a new development on a Jiu-Jitsu system. Traditional Jiu-Jitsu had a principle where you were always working with minimum force. But after witnessing that fight, Durewall wanted to add that it should not be built upon pain and injury. So that's why he created the principle that we have today. In the early 1960s, Kurt Durewall started his school. In the beginning, it was mostly judo and jiu-jitsu for people that wanted to have a hobby. But since his jiu-jitsu was without pain and injury, many people felt that this could work for them on their hospital. When they had patients that sometimes got aggressive or afraid, taking grips, they felt that his techniques were so nice to the person that attacked them that it could be used even towards a patient. So then he started teaching also about handling aggressive behavior on psychiatric clinics, hospitals, but also even police and military. Later, some people were asking him as a joke that since you can handle people so easily, couldn't you also help us to handle our patients? And they mean for moving and handling in bed and standing up, walking, so on. But he took it seriously, and he saw at once that he could use a lot of the same principles for patient handling as he used for self-defense. So he started developing a system for patient handling. Later, he also included another part that we call handling tools and objects. It was more about ergonomics for the industrial sector or other people on post offices and so on. When Durewall was teaching, he was focusing on principles instead of techniques. He wanted everybody to understand the principle that is behind the technique instead of a technique. And once he told me that if you show them a technique, they might change the way they are working at work, but they will not change the way they are working back home, lifting a box, lifting a child. So if we instead can teach them the principle, they can change the way they're working 24 hours. In Jiu-Jitsu, it was some people that wanted to keep on doing the traditional Jiu-Jitsu. So for Durewall to focus on his new principle, where he didn't want to use pain and injury for his Jiu-Jitsu, he in 1971 started his own federation, the Swedish Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Kurt Durewall was also publishing newspapers, magazines. He started back in 1964 and kept on for 25 years. It was magazines for judo, jiu-jitsu, and all different kinds of martial arts. He had one magazine for ergonomics and patient handling, and he kept writing and publishing things all the way until his last year. Durewall was also an author, writing books and compendiums. It started in the 1970s, where he was writing a lot of compendiums for the Jiu-Jitsu. After that, it was different compendiums for handling people in acute situations in patient handling. It was about self-defense for the army. And it was more and more coming each year. Later on, now he has made several books. He has a series of books for Jiu-Jitsu, but you can, even if you don't understand Swedish, it's a lot of very good pictures. There you can see different books. And then you have a book that he made about our world champion boxer, Ingo, with a lot of unique pictures. You also have his biography that is very, very interesting to read, where you can see what happened from his early days until his last days. Over here we can see a lot of other rewards and awards. Here's from 1959, when he got his first black belt in the United States from Professor Nakai in the Swedish Jiu-Jitsu Federation. He was given the 10th Dan, the highest degree that you can get. And the walls are just full of diplomas. Over here we can see an old one from 1969, when he got his black belt from the Swedish Judo Association. And there was so many more things that he got during his life in Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. And his shelves are full of awards and things that he have gotten from different friends in martial arts and self-defense. A lot of fascinating gifts and awards. In 2007, Durewall got the honorary prize from the Swedish Organization for Patient Handling, FFF. In 2010, he got an honorary prize from the Swedish Martial Arts Federation. In 2012, Durewall became a member of Hall of Fame in Gothenburg. In his office there are so many things that he have written but still not published. It's a lot of jiu-jitsu and a lot about handling aggressive behavior and patient handling, and thousands of pictures.